And so we come to the final of the 1978 Embassy World Professional Snooker Championship. It's Ray Reardon against Perry Mons, and here's what the two finalists had to say before they started that final.
Well, I've never experienced anything like this. You know, the tension is terrible, you know. You know, your whole stomach inside, you know, just pulls up like that, you know.
I wish him well, but he'll have to sharpen his game up if he's going to beat young Reardon here. They've been calling me old Reardon, but it's young Reardon is going to prove it, isn't it, really?
Well, the opening 2 days were ding-dong. Reardon going ahead, Mons catching up, Reardon ahead again. In fact, one of the highlights of the entire championship came when Reardon was leading 15-11.
1 in it now. And Reardon sits apparently relaxed, while Perry... Oh, he's missed the brown. And what's more, he's left it over the pocket. Retrieved all those points to just come to within one of former champion Reardon, who now leads 62 points to 61. 4 balls only left. The one difficult color is the pink. Now, Ray has left himself a cut on this blue into the center pocket and will attempt to shift the pink at the same time. No, he's not. He's trying to get behind it. He's 10 points in front. He just wants this pink. Across the table into that right-hand top pocket. It's bad luck, but it's safe. All on the last 2 balls then, the South African requiring both of them, and Reardon here requiring just one. The question at the moment, will Reardon go 5 frames in front, or will Perry Mons reduce the lead to 3 frames? Our capacity audience once again thoroughly enjoying the World Championships here at the Crucible Theatre in Sheffield. Over the past 12 days, we've seen 7 century breaks. The highest, of course, by John Spencer, a break of 138, which at the moment still claims the 500 pounds. Oh, what a brilliant shot. That surely must be the shot of the championships. Mons now requiring this black to take the frame. And he's got it.
That pink described by the 1977 world champion John Spencer as one of the best he'd ever seen.
His opponent, a man who's already held the title on 5 other occasions, from Wales, Ray Reardon. In charge of the session this morning, senior tournament referee from Wrexham, John Williams. All you fellas have missed the morning shopping, so enjoy yourself, and I hope you see good snooker. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Ray Reardon, the 18th frame to 14, Perry Mons.
The last day's play. 33rd frame with 17 to go. South African champion Perry Mons breaks off, trailing by 4 frames. This 37-year-old left-hander from Johannesburg has been putting up a terrific battle against the former champion Reardon.
1.
Mons determined
8.
to make a good show early this morning, for he knows that if he can pull a couple of frames back, he still has a chance of the world title 1978.
9.
Perry Mons potting very crisply this morning from the word go. He certainly needs to get 1 or 2 of the early frames to get back into this match.
$17. 22.
Now this time I feel that Perry Mons will not take the chance and therefore play safe. He's got 22 points on the board.
22, Perry Mons.
And so we have a look at the former champion Ray Reardon, the man who won this title firstly in 1970. He lost it and then regained it in 1973 and retained it consecutively for 4 years until 1976. Last year in 77 in the Embassy Professional Championship, it was John Spencer who defeated him. This year he wishes to make amends and get that title back again. Now Perry has split a few reds up there. Rather dangerous.
Well, that was a vital pot for Perry so early in today's play. To spread the balls like this is not going to be good. It's letting Ray get away.
8.
Balls are ideally positioned for a big break here, and it's the sort of start that Ray was looking for, I'm sure.
9. $16. 17.
'Ideally situated here, Ray
24.
Reardon. No need to look for any other coloured ball but the black ball.
25.
'Perry sits quietly, waiting for Reardon to break down.
$32.
Down to the bottom. Great shot. Brings his break to 40.
40. 41.
Reardon, of course, requires 7 frames before he can don the world crown once again.
$48.
Cutting this one into the middle.
49.
And so he passes the 50 mark.
54. 54.
Perhaps a little anxious on getting back onto the black. It was not an easy shot, but one that Reardon should have got. There are still 5 reds there, a possible 67 points. And the South African is at the moment 32 points behind.
1.
Now our senior referee of the championships, John Williams from Wrexham, just removes a hair or a speck of dust from the cue ball at the request of the South African.
$8.
Safety this time. Get the cue ball down onto the bottom cushion.
8. Perry Martin.
It's a very good safety shot indeed. And Mons, as you see, now 24 points adrift. Reardon, of course, has to be terribly careful here not to leave a possible red.
Perry Mons asking the referee to clean the wide ball a moment ago. It is distracting to the player to sight behind the wide ball and see a hair or a speck of dust or some other such article attached to it. It's far better to have the ball cleaned and get your mind back on the job. Ray's problem here, of course, is not hitting a red. He knows he can do that. It's getting them safe after doing it. Always the problem towards the close of a frame, because if these reds are split open, Mons is quite likely to clean up.
Foul, 4, Perry Mons.
Well, the cue ball just did not reach the reds, and so it's 4 points away. Literally an eighth of an inch would have done the trick. Now, what has Reardon done? A smile to say, I think I've done it wrong. "20 points behind. Possible 59 on the table.
One.
Our camera shows you there that the two reds are not in direct line
8.
with the pocket. So he's going to have a problem with those two reds.
Nine.
Well, you just move them. Mons now
16.
within 4 points. Tension starting to run high. Even on to the first of the day's frames to be played in this 49 frame final. So far in the championship, we have played 371 frames out of a possible 432.
16, Perry Mons.
Little in it as we're on to the last two reds. Reardon wanting to gain one more. Mons, on the other hand, so badly wanting this frame to stay in the match and give him a chance of a shot at the world title. If he can hold Reardon in these first 3 or 4 frames, he has a chance of making it. Ray tries a snooker. This left-hander has produced some outstanding pots during the course of the championship. And my word, he wants one right now. And he gets it. Bit unlucky on his position, but then that's been the story of Perry Mons throughout the championship. His brilliant putting carrying him through. His safety play has been second to none. But that's a bad mistake. Well, so Dame Fortune is on the side of the South African.
4. Did you like that one? Good, huh?
Obviously, Ray Reardon doesn't like that. And that puts Mons 1 point in front. Six colours to go. Bit strong. He wants this blue. At the moment, 15 points in front, 18 points on the table. A brilliant first frame, and the South African left-hander claiming one back. Reardon now requires a snooker. $20 points in it with just 13 on the table. That could be dangerous. He's left a chance for Reardon to get a snooker behind that black. Leaving the cue ball on the cushion. Now Mons has to get out of this snooker, for Reardon has put the pink over the pocket deliberately so that if he gets 6 points, all he has to do, but it's safe, and Mons is out of it. What a nail biter for the first frame of the day. And Reardon's missed the pink entirely. And I think he's going to concede, I'm not sure. Yes, Ray Reardon has in fact conceded the first frame. So the South African Perry Mons goes out and now is just 3 frames behind.
gentlemen, taking photographs is not allowed. Thank you. Anyone taking one will be asked to leave the auditorium.
Former champion Ray Reardon breaks off for our 34th frame.
Well, there we saw some marvellous potting for Perry Mons to take out the first frame after a very lucky green. But that's the fortunes of snooker. It will keep fluctuating both ways, I'm sure. I think we're going to see a very strong challenge from Mons this session. He likes the early morning sessions. He looks good today. He's playing nice and steady snooker. I think he'll test Ray this session.
One. Six.
Those are the frame winners. And very gently behind the yellow. First 7 points to Mons. Mons having a look at this long, loose red. The furthest he's got in the championship prior to the 1978 this year was in 1976 when he reached the semi-finals only to meet today's opponent Ray Reardon and be beaten. Fabulous shot there.
Tremendous courage shown there from Perry. He's behind on frames, a long slow pot to stay on the black ball. It did take some courage to do that, and he certainly played it marvellously well.
Eight.
Oh, that's...
Perry Mon.
I was going to say that was unlucky. In fact, of course, Mons is very disappointed at his shot there. He was in with a chance of a break. Good one. And so the break is at the hands now of Ray Reardon.
Eight. Nine.
Reardon, as always,
16.
concentrating on the black. His nose in front now.
$24.
And he's done that wrong. Obviously wanted to miss that black, get the cue ball the other side of it. I think playing safe here.
25, Ray Reardon.
Well, there we saw a very bad miss from Perry Mons, resulting in a break for Ray Reardon. It was an unforgivable miss from Perry. He was right in control, and unfortunately he left the red in the jaws, and he can't afford to do that against Ray, because as Ray settles down, his concentration becomes more fierce. He'll be a much more formidable opponent than he is in the early frames. Perry's got to realise that and try and make sure of all those early chances.
It's quite extraordinary how Perry Mons can get that cue ball back to the bulk line there when so far away from the object ball.
And I'd like to have the good fortune of tucking the reds up when they miss as well. Yeah. both players having a little luck here, getting covers up when they miss. The red ball with the pocket partially blocked is making this an extremely difficult pot for Perry to take on.
One. Three. Four.
Perry is quite content to leave the cue ball back from the object balls and continue with his long potting. I thought he may have picked another ball from the yellow to get down close to the reds, but his potting is so deadly that it's just an aspect of the game that he doesn't really have to concentrate on.
He's now within 1 point.
9.
And that makes it all square.
Fifteen. 16.
Perry moves the pink ball now. It's going to open that pocket up for any one of the three reds adjacent to the top cushion, and this could be a frame-winning break building up here.
$22.
Perfect position on an awkward red.
Now he's gone slightly too far on that pink to enable him to get onto those three reds.
He needs to play this shot with strong left-hand spin applied to the wide ball to check back in onto those reds, and that's always a difficult shot to play. Now he's made sure of the pot and left the wide ball a reasonably distance away from the reds, and it's going to require a crash hot pot this time. He didn't take it on.
29, 30 miles.
Takes a lead of 19 points then.
One.
It's a good one from Reardon.
It's very hard to call Perry Mond's play. I was quite sure he would have taken that red on, but he elected to play a safety, played a bad shot of it, and now he's going to be in real trouble.
8. 9.
Red's not quite far enough. He wanted to stun that black in and gently glide towards the red on the top cushion. But the natural angle at the moment will take the cue ball down the table.
$16. $16, Ray Reardon.
The situation of the colours indicating that this red is the operative ball of the frame. Three points in it only. That could be a good shot. Just a trifle too hard. Our camera showing you the angle of the red that Mons now has to play. Some of us, of course, would slide across the face of that red and double it across into the opposite middle pocket. I just wonder what the South African will do. Well, I think he tried exactly that, but he caught it too thin. And he's got out of it reasonably well.
Ray's previous shot, I'm quite sure he didn't intend to get the double kiss as he moved the red away from the top cushion. He was indeed fortunate that the red ball didn't come out a fraction further. It would have been an easy pot into the centre pocket, and Mons could have been away. They're both having a run here at the present time.
Redden, of course, taking every possible precaution, tying the South African up. Just 3 points in it. Great shot. If he gets this brown, the frame is over. No. A great chance then for Perry Mans, champion of South Africa, to pull back a second frame in this morning's session, putting himself just 2 frames behind the former champion.
2.
The green is followed by the brown. Brown sat between pink and black. He goes 7 points in front.
5.
Almost perfect on the brown to allow him to go down the table for the blue. A large crowd in the Crucible Theatre, Sheffield, early Saturday morning for this 49-frame final and the last day's play. He's 16 points in front. It's not there, but he doesn't mind it being over the pocket. 58 points to 42. Reardon requires a snooker. An extraordinary frame, this one.
It's of tremendous importance to Perry Mons, of course, to win this one, because it's going to put him right back in the firing line, and I feel there's some pressure coming on Ray now. He's missing that brown in the centre pocket was quite unbelievable, really.
And I think this is the one that the South African is looking for. No. Unlike Perry to miss those. Very difficult position here for Reardon to get a snooker. But he's not too far away. And still the pink stays on the table. What a great shot. Mons, in fact, can just get through there.
Perry needs to pocket this pink ball, because missing those last two pots is not good for his confidence, and that's better.
That's it, and the South African snooker champion is within 2 frames.
Run quarter-inch VT tape.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Ray Reid leads 18 frames to 17, and he will break.
And so with Perry Mons, the South African, requiring one frame to draw level, it's Reardon breaking off. This our 36th frame. The champion who has upset the apple cart throughout the championship. In the first round, he made mincemeat of the defending champion John Spencer by defeating him 13 frames to 8. He then took on twice pot black winner Graham Miles and defeated him 13-7. His toughest battle was against the 64-year-old Fred Davis, where he took a 3-frame victory. And I just wonder, after that shot, what damage he might have done as Reardon comes to the table. It looks to me like a fortunate get-out.
It was a risky one for Perry to play, in as much as it was very difficult to see how he could get the white ball anywhere.
One.
I'd put that down to a drop in concentration from Perry Mons there, and he certainly can't afford those.
Seven.
They're not just going right for Reardon at the moment.
Seven. Reread.
It's not like Ray to run into those balk colours. He's having a little run of the miserables at the present time.
Three.
Content with 3 points for the moment.
That was an extremely good shot at this stage of the frame. The red balls are all over the place, and Ray covered on all reds. He's got to play a good shot here.
Brilliant stroke from Reardon. Not happy with life at the moment is Ray Reardon, quite naturally. He's lost the last 3 frames. Slight grin across the face of the South African, one of complete satisfaction. Now we really have the reds widespread now, and the black not too far from the pocket. Well, a lot of balls were disturbed there, and Mons has come out terribly fortunately, I think. The balls certainly being kind to the South African and unkind to the Welshman at this moment. But then that is the game of snooker. Reardon is in there battling. He is 1 frame in front.
Five. Six.
Reardon working his way towards that favourite colour, the black.
Well.
Reardon knows he must not make a mistake.
70.
The
27.
man who has taken the last 3 frames from the former champion.
Twenty-eight. $33. $34. $41. $42.
Ray Reardon potting with great deliberation here. He knows how important it is to go into the break by winning this frame and remaining 2 up. It's either going to be 2 up or all level. And if it's all level, that would have been a splendid morning session for Perry Mons.
$49.
That's the half century.
$56. $57.
Break now 63.
63.
If Ray can make this long pot, I feel sure we're going to see a century break here.
$79. $80.
This black will equal his highest break, which he made in the 12th frame, the highest break of the championship final, 87.
87.
The green is the difficult ball.
$95.
4 inches too far for the yellow to make it easy to get onto the green, and now has got Reyes confronted with an extremely difficult shot. At this angle, I feel he may have to go all around the table and back for the green. And to do that, he's got to find a path through blue, pink and black to continue working towards this century break. All because the white ball travelled 4 inches too far. In compiling century breaks in these big matches, of course, the one thing that a player certainly can do without is this break in concentration when you're in the 90s. He could make this pot. He can make it.
Exactly 100. Oh, unlucky. That then is the 8th snooker century of the championship, and of course the highest break in this world final, 1978.
9. It's 9, pretty much.
And so Perry just takes a brown and a blue. And as we go to the interval, Reardon here, with a magnificent 100 break, has increased his lead back to 2 frames.
Peace and quiet. BBC are going live at 5:25. If you're sitting with anybody you shouldn't be sitting with, move now, because you'll be on... Oh yeah, believe it or not, some people have moved before. In charge of the session this evening, the final session, as he has indeed been in charge of the whole final, the senior tournament referee from Wrexham, John Williams. Enjoy your snooker, have a good evening, and don't forget to remain seated at match result. Thank you very much.
Reardon leads 22 frames to 18, Perry Mons to break.
Trailing by 4 frames, the South African snooker champion, Perry Mons. A formidable task in front of him before we have just 9 frames to go now in this Embassy World Professional Snooker Championship for 1978. The man who is looking for 3 frames, former champion Ray Reardon. Reardon here leading 22 frames to 18. The magic number on the scoreboard is 25 frames. A great start from the South African.
One, very man.
11,000 pounds on this final. The winner tonight will receive 7,500. The loser, 3,500. And it's 6 points away.
Foul, 6, very man. Touching ball.
The bridge hand there of South African Perry Mons. With me again this evening is the defending world snooker champion, John Spencer. John, of course, was defeated in this year's championship by the man at the table at the moment. What about the views?
Well, this, of course, is a vital frame for Perry. What he needs is a very, very good start to give his confidence a boost and, of course, start knocking those long pots in. Because particularly in this first frame, I think both players are under extreme amount of pressure. This is the final session. This is when it's all decided. They've been battling for 2 weeks nearly now, and this is it all happens tonight.
One. One, reread.
The inevitable safety play at the start of this 41st frame, it being terribly important, of course, to the South African, trying to pull the former champion back. Reardon here, who's been playing brilliant snooker in this final. Perry mustn't miss too many of those. May I just remind you, whilst we're on this bout of safety play, that there have been 8 snooker centuries during the course of these 1978 championships. 2 by John Spencer, the defending champion. 2 by Reardon here at the table. 2 by Eddie Charlton, the Australian champion. Fred Davis and Patsy Fagan both having 1 each. The highest of all those, of course, is held by the defending champion Spencer with a break of 138, which at the moment is claiming the highest break prize of £500.
One. Five.
Well, Perry's in here with a chance, and I think it's very important that he makes a small break here to get his cueing going, get rid of those early nerves which we've all seen both players showing.
6.
And he's played that very, very well. This is what Perry needs, is a nice, easy introduction to the game, get his potting going, build his confidence up, and I'm sure later on we'll see some of those whirlwind pots.
Touching ball.
Thank you.
Perry Mans.
The South African now leading 19 points to 1. One of those humdingers from the South African. And he's back amongst the Reds.
8.
Good position.
$14. Perry Mann.
Welcome to the Crucible Theatre Sheffield, where you join us live for the last session of the Embassy World Professional Snooker Championship final between Ray Reardon and Pierre Mons. The prize, the world title, and a cheque for £7,500. After 40 frames, the score is 22-18 to Reardon, and you join us with the score in frame 41 at Mons 33, Reardon 1. Your commentators are the 1977 world champion John Spencer, who's just about to hand over his crown, and Ted Lowe.
At the table, the former world champion Ray Reardon looking for 3 frames. At the moment, Reardon is trailing by some 32 points in this 41st frame, but he has the advantage of a 4-frame lead. Mons struggling to get to the level of Reardon and requiring some 7 frames to be able to don the world crown.
Well, of course, this first frame of the final session is always the one that shows the early nerves. And Perry seems to have got over them rather quicker than Ray, as you see there. An uncharacteristic shot from Ray Reardon going in off and leaving Perry with another easy red into the corner pocket.
The left-hander whose favourite coloured ball is the blue.
1.
A 50-1 shot at the start of these championships some 2 weeks ago. We are at the moment playing the 380th frame of this championship. Scheduled at the start for 432 frames. Naturally,
6.
certain players have not had to finish out their complete quota.
$6. Perry Mann.
First time in the final for the South African 37-year-old left-hander from Johannesburg. But this man is looking for his 6th title. He turned professional in 1969. He won the championship and the world crown in 1970. In 1973 to 1976, he won it 4 consecutive years, and last year lost it to John Spencer. This year, he is hoping to regain it.
Six. Seven. Nine.
Playing brilliant snooker is this former world champion, Ray Reardon.
Ten.
I think this is one of the important points between the two players. Perry's main game is the long potting, good safety player, but doesn't often build many big breaks. Consequently, has to virtually win the match twice. He makes 2 or 3 20 to 30 breaks, but of course when Ray's in this form and he gets in, he's looking to win the frame every time. And builds breaks far simpler.
Sixteen.
Now 19 points behind, and still 4 reds there.
23. $24.
This is a typical example of what I was talking about with Ray. Perry just left the one red standing out with a group of reds round the black, and in 2 or 3 shots he's got all the reds opened up, the black clear to both pockets, and could well clear the table from this position.
Position on the one difficult red.
$39.
Reardon goes 4 points in front.
46. $47.
Break goes to 54.
54. $56.
South African sat quietly, awaiting the turn he's not likely to get in this frame. Redden made a 100 break in this morning's session.
63.
Clearing these three colours will give him 81.
$68. $74.
One mistake then by the South African cost him that frame, a magnificent clearance of 81 points by the former world champion Ray Redden, to now go further ahead, leading 5 frames at 23 frames to 18. Delighting the whole of the capacity audience here at the Crucible Theatre. And sat around the arena are one or two of the players who have been in this championship. On the right is Willie Thorne talking to Canadian champion Bill Werbeneck. And Cliff Thorburn, the Canadian champion, who had such a tough battle with Australian champion Eddie Charlton. And that's David Taylor. David, of course, was defeated by Graham Miles. All here. Next to him is Maurice Parkin, who played in the preliminary rounds of the 1978 championship.
Ray Redden leads 23 frames to 18. He will break.
And it's back to the match. Breaking off Ray Redden with a lead of 5 frames and looking for 2 more.
Well, that frame we saw just what I was talking about. Give Ray one chance and he's out to win the frame as soon as he pots the first red. Once he got those reds open round the blank, it looked to me as though it was all over. He's in devastating form at present, and Perry must just be wondering what he's got to do.
Perry here started off this last day's play by taking the first 3 frames from Redden, but he's not been able to get back into the match since then.
1. $8.
Brilliant shot.
And here's the same position again, where I'm sure Ray's going to open the reds and out to get a winning frame break in this early part of this frame.
16. Seventeen.
Well, it tried the second pocket, but Reardon misses a black there, unusual of him, but he now has 17 points on the scoreboard. Perry happy to get to the final. It was in 1976 that he went his furthest in the World Championship. He reached the semi-final only to meet the man he's playing today, Ray Reardon.
Eight. Terrific power in his cue as this South African. He's a bit unlucky. 16.
In fact, it was the power of that shot, in actual fact, that made him miss the reds he was aiming for. Had he played the shot a little slower, I've no doubt the white would have gone into the reds. But the power swerved the white around the reds and came back down the other side.
1 point in it then. Apart from delighting I was about to say, apart from delighting the audiences here at the Crucible Theatre and indeed the millions of viewers, Perry Mons has been playing some fabulous safety shots. An example of one Reardon is now facing. Willie Thorne and Bill Werbeneck probably discussing how they would get out of this snooker. But then they're not at the table. It's Reardon. Could be 6.
Foul. 6. Perry Mons.
So that puts Perry Mons in front, 22 points to 17. Trailing, of course, by 5 frames. He has everything to do. A formidable task against the former champion to pull 5 frames back at this late stage of the final.
1.
I think these are the positions that Perry really needs to get in and knock a 40 or 50 break up, and therefore put a bit of pressure on Ray, who's playing magnificent snooker at present. But there we have it again. That is a typical shot of Perry's. Red into the corner pocket and screwing back for the baulk colours, where Ray would be trying to concentrate more on the pink and the black.
That's a bad one. But Ray Ryan doesn't think that funny at all.
10.
Several times in this final, Perry Mons, the South African, has had a slam. He's missed the pot in the first pocket, but it's gone around the table and found another pocket.
Perry Mons.
So Mons now 32 points to Reardon's 17. Will the South African be able to see that red? The cue ball is set behind the brown. Playing a swerve. And I would say that's pretty fortunate. He's got the cue ball back almost behind the yellow. He has to go up for the bunch. Almost perfect strength there on that safety stroke from Perry Mons. Now Reardon has split the reds up a bit. The question is, can the South African get in?
Well, I think here we'll see one of the rocket attempts, as Ted calls them, into the corner pocket, screwing back again, into bold.
Dame Fortune looking after Ray Reardon this time. He's pleased with that one.
This looks to be a very, very difficult position to be in. The only ball he can cue at without touching the blue is the one he's playing on the side cushion.
A brilliant shot. He's in just as difficult position now as he was before he took the red. So this time it's a low. He's gone straight enough. 4 points away. Well, that is very unfortunate for the South African, because a red is in line with the centre pocket for Reardon. Just 12 points in it. Reardon in a situation like this is absolutely devastating.
1. Six. Seven.
That could have been a little better. Cue ball right round the table.
14.
Again, he's a little unlucky. He's gone 2 points in front now. Oh, another great cut. And still he's in trouble.
Here we have another typical example of Ray's scoring power. Once he gets in, he just hates to have to play safe. All the time he's looking to try and finish the game in one break. And it looks as though here again we see him attempt this difficult pink and come back round for those two reds back into the same pocket.
21. 22.
'Right into the center of the pocket. Now leading by 16 points.
28. 29.
Nice little tap on the blue there. Just the right side, I think, of the blue to enable the cue ball to come up the table for the two last reds, which are terribly difficult on the top cushion. Perhaps he's a little too straight. Choosing the pink. South African champion.
$36.
That's a bad one.
36.
Redden now 24 points in front and still a possible 35 on the table. This red, the black and the colours. So still a chance for the South African to clinch the frame if he can get in. If Redden has his way, it'll be him that takes the red, the black and the colours. Perry Mons here has endeared himself to the British public with his extraordinary pots in this championship. That time it didn't come off. But they're reasonably safe. A chance for Reardon then.
One.
Not as he intended. but he's going for the fine cut on the black. That makes life terribly difficult for the South African. Reardon now 34 points out in front. 25 points only left on the table. Delightful shot. Trying to force that in to get the cue ball round for the blue. Reardon misses it, but now has the commanding lead of 70 points to 33. 37 points in front with just 22 left on the table. On winning this frame, Reardon, of course, will have 24 frames on the scoreboard and will be looking for the magic 25, the one that will give him for the 6th time the world crown. He will also net £7,500 and the trophy you see set at the end of the table. Reardon doesn't mind leaving them over the pockets now.
Of course, one of the problems Perry's got when Ray's in such devastating form is to try and play his own game. When someone's playing as well as Ray's, it tends to make you think about every shot you play. And I think this is the pressure that Perry's under. And probably not quite playing his shots as freely as he would like to.
And Reardon applauds that brilliant snooker by the South African. 33 points behind, but there are only 18 points on the table, so Mons requires more than just one snooker. And he's not quite sure what he's done, but what he does know is that he's given 7 points away. Oh dear. Now, this is Reardon putting a file across the tip of his cue. He doesn't want to miss cue again. A rare sight to see these top professional snooker players missing cue.
5.
Perry Mons, the shy, retiring teetotaler and non-smoker from Johannesburg.
5. Reardon.
And very nearly kicks the black in, but he has conceded the frame, and so Reardon Ray Reardon, taking that frame at 75 points to 44, goes one frame nearer the world title. He now requires just one frame, leading 24 points to 18, the biggest margin he's had against the South African, a margin of 6 frames. the World Professional Snooker Trophy. Today, 50 years of age. It was bought, in fact, the first year that the championship was run, and that was in 1927, when the title was won by the great Joe Davis, who helped to pay for that trophy out of his winnings as champion in that year.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Ray Reardon leads 24 frames to 18. Perry Mans to break.
And so we come to the frame that Reardon is really looking for. But will the South African, who's broken off, keep him at bay? 24 frames to 18 then. Reardon, who started life down the pits from Tredegar in Wales. And that could be enough, 4 points away.
4, Perry Mans.
Perry doesn't mind, they all count.
Well, of course,
6.
a bit of luck like that always helps you when you've missed an easy shot, but it doesn't do your confidence much good, because he did miss
7.
the red he went for. So confidence-wise, but here again, we're in the same position where his positional players let him down. He was well in amongst the reds there. 5 or 6 reds open at the top of the pack and finished it up having to play a snooker.
Whilst we're waiting for Ray Reardon to contemplate this snooker, perhaps this is the moment I could tell you that we have had 8 100 snooker breaks in these championships over the past 2 weeks. 2 have been made by John Spencer, 2 by Reardon here, 2 by the Australian champion Eddie Charlton, and 1 each from Fred Davis and Patsy Fagan. The highest of all those is John Spencer's 138, which claims the Embassy highest break prize of £500. And it's on the way to the black, but just stopped short.
4, Perry Mans.
4 points away. Mons with 11 points on the scoreboard now. But I think that should in fact be 15. The 4 points weren't put up. It is 15 points to Mons with that last foul, trailing of course by 6 frames. A further proof of John Spencer's words is the fact that Reardon here has on 7 occasions made the maximum break of 147. I know a number of viewers have telephoned us about the 155, but we, in fact, term that as a fluke because one has to get a foul before you can start that particular break. Perry Mons here, a family man with 4 children. His highest personal break is 145. Completely undecided as to what to do. Attempting to make this plant, as you see by our camera shot, those 2 balls are not in line for the pocket. And on the left of those 2 ladies there is Sue Reardon, Ray's wife, who normally sits at home looking after all his business interests. Tonight, joining him and hoping to share his triumph in the world title and crown.
1. Six. 7.
Perry's just looking at the red near the pink to see if it'll go in the corner pocket and therefore open the pink to be possible into the middle pocket. As the black is tied up, at present he can only play on the blue. So now he can get the
12.
pink back into play when he pots this red into the corner.
It's a good
13.
one. .33 points up,
18.
but trailing by 6 frames. He's certainly opened the reds now.
19.
A little bit unlucky there. He's not an easy blue to pot here. It's rather a difficult one when all the reds are spread like this.
Oh!
$24. 24, Perry Mans.
Mons then goes to 39 points. Well, he hit another red, so he's all right. But of course he's left that red over the centre pocket.
One.
Cue ball dangerously near the blue, but he can in fact get to the pink if he so wishes. But being a left-hander, he's going for the little fish.
Three.
Way off with that one.
3, Perry Mans.
We seem to have seen this pattern of play in quite a number of the frames that have gone in the past. Perry building up a nice lead with a few small breaks, but losing out all the time on his position. And the danger, of course, is once Ray gets in, he's likely to clear the table and win the frame. We've seen this happen numerous times throughout this match.
Redden lulling Mons into making a mistake. Relaxed, cool, just waiting for the world title. Now, what has he done here? Is this the mistake that Reardon has been waiting for? Mons has 42 points on the scoreboard. That red is Reardon's first.
Well, after those last 3 shots that Perry has just played, you know, I get the impression that he's actually conceded the match. He played a dangerous double when there was red over the middle pocket, and then another wild shot there let Ray in here for what I could say could be a match-winning break. When he's playing in this sort of form, you can't afford to let him in with red spread all over the table like this.
Well. $13.
Well,
13, Ray Reardon.
it's not usual to see Reardon miss one of those. 13 points on the scoreboard. Still 5 reds there. And And Mons surely, in his heart of hearts, must know that that has given Reardon the chance he's waiting for.
One.
One loose red down just below the D. Oh, and he misses the pink.
One. Ray Reardon.
Surely nerves have not crept in at this critical stage of this 49 frame final. 42-14.
One.
Perry looks at the scoreboard.
Six.
What a terrific long putter he is. "35 points in it." And again the pink is missed. Reardon still with a chance of pulling the frame out of the bag, for with 2 reds and 2 blacks, plus the colours, there's a possible 43 on the table.
One.
Now he has the problem of this last red.
Seven. Seven. Ray Reardon.
Well, Reardon has left not only a Chinese snooker, which is over the top of the black, but he's left it very difficult down the line. Had the South African a clear cue ball, he may be able to swerve around the pink and blue. But in these circumstances, he must go off the cushion. The bridge hand there, getting over the black, and he's way off the mark. 4 points
Foul.
away.
4. Ray Reardon.
And so the difference now is just 24 points.
One.
Right behind his favorite color, the black. Sixteen points behind. That's there. He's now in position for these 5 colors. The dying moments now of the Embassy World Professional Snooker Championship for 1978. at the table, taking the last 4 balls, is former champion on 5 occasions, Welshman Ray Reardon. He's now just 2 points behind. Requires both pink and black.
Retain your seats, please.
There indeed, in true world champion style, Reardon takes the final frame and dons the world crown.
Oh, I feel much better now, Jack.
Mark.
Oh, yes.
6 times?
Yeah, well, you know,
How does it feel?
everyone is one, actually.
Does the 6th feel better than the first?
No, no. Everyone has got its own charisma, actually. And as the years go on, because of the advent of television and our sponsors, the game is getting bigger and it gets harder to win, actually. So each one is individual, actually.
Well, Ray, I must say that you've given us all a treat with some marvellous snooker. And there always has to be a loser. And we've had a new one this year.
He's played very, very well indeed, actually. And I'm sure that... very well played. Well, Jack, you can see how gracious Perry is in losing, and I'm sure he'd be a great winner also. But the last few days, he's frightened the life out of me with some of the screw shots he's been doing on this table, actually. I mean, I'm sure that if the table was long enough, or if the pockets weren't there, he hit a ball in yesterday, a pink, and screwed back the whole length of the table from the length of the table. And if the back of the pocket hadn't been there, the ball would have gone to Manchester, I'm sure of that. It was a fantastic, it must be the shot of the match, anyhow, of the tournament for that matter. Super playing with Perry, actually. And commiserations, sorry he's got to be a winner.
Well, Ray, we all agree that you're the king of the snooker players, but I'm sure you won't mind if I say that we think that Perry here is the king of the pots.
Yeah.
He really is,
That's
isn't
for
he?
sure,
He really is.
Very true indeed, actually, yes.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, Jack, all the professionals who played here this week, they've all been super. And I mean, the staff here have been absolutely marvellous to each and every one of us. And we hope that they appreciate us as much as we've appreciated them, actually, because they've been so kind and considerate to us.
Well, that's marvellous, Ray.
No, it's absolutely marvellous.
Yes, well, thank you very much. Thank you, Ray.
Ray Reardon, the world champion, Perry Mons of South Africa by 25 frames to 18. Well, that's the end of a marvellous championship. But we should be back with the highlights of the entire day's play here on BBC Two at 11:20 tonight. I'm sure you're going to look forward to seeing all of today's play. So until then, I wish you, from the Crucible Theatre in Sheffield, a very good night indeed.
We're going to ask them to play a 5-frame challenge match, for which Mike Watson, the promoter, who doesn't know it yet, has kindly donated £200. Ladies and gentlemen, and now to present the prizes and the trophies. And I would like to call upon Mr. Bill Owen, a director of WD&HO Wills, and Mr. Peter Dyke, the general manager of the WD&HO Wills Sponsored Events Division, to come forward And in the first place, call upon John Spencer for a cheque for £500 for the highest break of the tournament, 138. And now to that great fighter, a man who's fought his way through for the first time to the final of the Embassy World Professional Snooker Championship, the losing £3,500, Perry Mans. And now for the big one, the 1978 Embassy World Professional Snooker Champion, £7,500, a trophy, Ray Reardon. A few words from Ray, an interval, 15 minutes, 5 frames, the best off for £200.
Mike, did you hear that? Is that correct? Is it? Just verifying or clarifying a statement made by our tournament director there, Mr. Donkin. Man, what a fine break of 138 that was, wasn't it, really? By golly. I saw someone quoted that you're unlucky to make a 147, but you potted 10 blues, they said. But, ladies and gentlemen, our sponsors, Mike Watson, our promoter, and Bruce Donkin, our tournament director. Obviously, I'm very, very thrilled in once again retaining the, well, not retaining it, but getting it back, shall I say. Commiserations to Perry for a wonderful performance. I'm sure he's made a lot of friends here. I mean, he's made them through the pot black, but more so now, actually, with his terrific potting. Well done, Perry. I'm sure that all your family and close friends in South Africa are very proud of you. And so they should be as well, actually. Obviously, the game has received a magnificent amount of coverage through the advent of BBC Two television and its director, Mr. Nick Anter. This game is really beginning to boom, isn't it, really? And thanks to the pot black, which originated it all off, it introduced sponsors into the game. And now here we are, 11 days of coverage of snooker. 1 hour ago at a time. We've got about 14 days altogether. And this afternoon there was 3 frames played on grandstand. They even interrupted the horse racing. Anyway, the same people backing losers sometimes, isn't it, really? But of course, congratulations to our sponsors, Embassy, for once again joining us in the snooker event. And of course, they're going to be doing it again for another couple of years. Let's hope that they're going to do it for the next decade, actually. I'm sure they must be very thrilled, as we are, of the response through the press and the television which has been received. We're very pleased to be associated with them, and I'm sure that they'll be very pleased to be associated with us. So all you people out there, don't forget, support the sponsors and they'll support us, you know. A lot of people to thank, actually. All of the fellow professionals who played all magnificently here this week and last week. Obviously, we all can't win. I had a very short visit last year. Lasted about 5 hours, I reckon. Never mind, John. The old man came good this year, didn't he, eh? And of course, our promoter, Mike Watson, immediately on my left, who's done such a marvellous job in staging this venue on behalf of the sponsors. Mike, congratulations to you for a superb job. Many, many thanks, Mike. And of course, it'd be very remiss of me if I wasn't to thank his delightful wife, Carol, who is sitting right on the front row, because I'm sure she's been very instrumental in making this a success. Carol, lovely to see you, and thank you for all your assistance. Of course, our tournament director, Bruce Donkin. Oh, he's given me some hammer this week, actually. Oh, there was one evening I played with Eddie Charlton, of course, Eddie Charlton. What a terrific match that was, actually. There shouldn't have been a loser there, as a matter of fact, actually. Steady Eddie, he wasn't steady there. He was going like mad. Thought he was never going to stop on some occasions. Anyhow, we played an afternoon show of 3:15 and then back at 7:30. I left here at, what, 12:30 to go to Halifax. And, of course, got to Halifax about 1:30. A couple of those gin and tonics we've been reading about, you know. Got to bed about 3 o'clock and then back here for 11 o'clock. Well, that's amazing, isn't it, really? And, of course, Bruce there, he's at me all the time, you know. I'm tired, I'm worn out, old man as I am. I've only had about half an hour break and I've got to be back out here. I'm shaving. And he's announcing me, actually. But I'm sure, Bruce, I say that in all good faith. You've done a marvellous job. And of course, your liaison officer at the side of it there, Ken Smith, and all the referees and markers who've made this venue so possible. There's a lot of other people as well. The people who've looked after us, the staff of the theatre here, they've also done a marvellous job because they've been a bit busy. You can't even make a phone call now because all the money's full in the boxes, actually. It'd be a bad job emptying that to start with. And, of course, all you magnificent people who've come along here and supported our game and the sponsors and the television. Without you, it wouldn't be possible. And thank you all for being with such a magnificent and appreciated audience indeed. I see that my wife's arrived today. There she is up there, actually. I must give a mention to my dear wife, Susan, there. Obviously, I wouldn't be where I am without her, actually, because she looks after the home and the family. I'm just the visitor who goes there now and again. She just spends the money, actually. But thank you, sir. And, of course, a family who I've been staying with during these last 11 days, Mr. and Mrs. Gordon Ingham and the family from Halifax who've hosted me, and they've chauffeured me here and chauffeured me back. Without them, it wouldn't be possible. Ladies and gentlemen, may I just close with that and say thank you all very, very much indeed for supporting this venture. Next year, no doubt, we'll be back here again. Book early. It's going to be difficult to get in here. Let's hope that never mind. At least you'll be able to see it on the television. That's one good consolation. And thank you all for being such a marvellous audience. And to those who are going to stay to see this 200... It is 200, is it? Didn't any more? Any advance, Mr. Dwyer? But I'd just like to say on behalf of all the professional players, I'm sure we've all had a marvellous time here, and let's hope that you have also. Thank you all very, very much indeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, just take your seats one moment longer. Who remains would like to say a few words to you?
They really caught me off hand here. First of all, you'll have to excuse my English. I'm not English speaking. I'd like to thank Ray for the game, and I think he really deserved the title and the cup. But I'll be back again next year, hopefully. I'd like to thank the audience for being so wonderful, the markers, scorers, players, sponsors, and even the promoter. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you.
Lights out. 15 minutes interval, ladies and gentlemen.
15-minute interval. Okay, now. Next exhibition match. They'll be back. So I think we could adjourn to the office for a little conference of all interested parties. Yeah. Well, well, to the office, I think, for the late night session. Oh! Well, that's that lot over. We'll see you in the office for a conference about the thing with our